If you're brand new to government contracting or you've been in this business a while, this podcast today is going to rock your world. These are the steps that I would follow if I was starting a brand new government contracting business. And look, I have won millions in government contracts. My clients have won $13.5 billion in government contracts. This is the path to the quickest way to win government contracts. So what I have for you today is actually from our podcast, Game Changers for Government Contractors. This is an episode that I took from that and turned into a video for today. I think you're going to really enjoy it. There's not video from the podcast. It's just the image from it, but I think you're really going to get a lot of value out of this. And if you want to listen to it there versus watch it, it's episode 216 on our podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, pop them in the comments for this video, email me, shoot me a message on LinkedIn, and now it's time for the podcast.
The big question is this: if government contracting is supposed to be so easy, why do so many companies fail to win even a single contract while others dominate the market? That's the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. In today's episode, you go one-on-one with best-selling author and master business coach Michael LeJeune to learn exactly how to take your government contracting business to the next level.
Hey everybody, Michael LeJeune here, and I want to talk to you today about your first year in government contracting. We always talk about all the little things you need to do and all the little aspects of government contracting, but I don't think I've ever done a podcast on what that first year in government contracting should look like. What I'd like to see happen is for people to take a look at this model and really just embrace the simplicity of what the first year in government contracting should be. And so let's kind of start at the beginning. When I look at someone's strategy, for example, one of the things that I look at initially is getting very clear on the services you want to provide. Now, why do I get very clear on that? The reason is because almost every business I talk to has multiple service lines, product lines, whatever you want to call them, in their business. The challenge when you are new is selecting which one of those to focus on. There's no right or wrong answer, but you need to focus. My suggestion is usually to start with what is the one thing that you know everybody has a problem with, and kind of cross-sell the other things that you do. So regardless of what your business looks like today and how you brand yourself, getting clearer on that will help you when you start to do your market research. So again, regardless of which industry you're in, if you're in construction, but you do a little bit of general construction, you do some plumbing, you do some electrical, you do some concrete work, where do you want to start? If you're in IT and you do some SharePoint work, you do some ERP work, you do some fill in the blank, cybersecurity, all these different things, where do you want to start and where do you want to be known for? Let's start there and then weave the other stuff in. But having a starting point of, hey, this is the company we are, this is the company we're going to project to the government of where our focus is really important. It also helps you narrow down like all those NAICS codes and PSC codes and keywords and all of those things that when you're trying to search for opportunities, if you've got 50 things to search for, it's going to make it really, really difficult. If we can narrow that down and now you only have, say, 3 to 5 keywords, 3 to 5 NAICS codes, 3 to 5 PSC codes, now it just makes life much easier. And in fact, I would say maybe 1 or 2 NAICS codes and 2 or 3 PSC codes. The smaller you can get that number, the easier it is going to be to search. And then if you don't find enough opportunities, we can open up that filter as we go, but we want to try to narrow it down as small as possible initially and focus on being known for that thing. So your strategy should start with being really clear on your services. Then your market research. Who buys what you sell? We do that through SAM.gov. We do it through USA Spending. There's a lot of different ways we focus on there. Once you find out who buys what you sell, this is where you start to really work on the deep side of the strategy of figuring out the agencies specifically. So within the CDC, if there's certain offices you need to work with, within the DoD, which branches of the military you want to work with, that sort of thing. Figuring those out and picking 1, 2, maybe 3 targets that you really want to focus on in that first year. So out of all the people who buys what you sell, now we're looking at, hey, in this first year, I'm going to focus on these 3 targets. I'm going to focus on the Army, and I'm going to focus on Fort Hood, whatever else, right? I don't know which other places you'd want to focus on, but let's say that's where you start with. You get the Army, you get your couple of bases that you want to work with. Maybe you pick one other branch, maybe you pick Air Force and a couple of bases you want to work with. And now you've got again, it's a target, but it's a select group within the government that you're going to focus on. From there, you can start learning who their OSDBUs are, who their small business offices are, all those different organizations like that, or all those different contacts like that you need to make contact with. You can focus on that. Remember what I just said here. I didn't say contracting officers. OSDBUs, so the Office of Small Disadvantaged Business Utilization, those folks, that's often the entry point, your small business office, then your contracting offices, and your PM level, so your project and program manager level. You can focus on what all of those are, and you want to start basically building an org chart, like who are these people that I need to talk to? What should this look like? And now you go from I want to sell to the government to now I'm selling to the Army and the Air Force. Here are the bases I'm working on. Here are my small business contacts, my OSDBU contacts, my contracting officers, my PMs for the PMs that I need to get that grassroots level support for. And now you've got the makings of an actual strategy, if you will, where, hey, these are the people that are going to help propel me to the next level. Now, in that first, say 3 to 6 months, I'm doing that research. I'm identifying all those people. That's probably in the first 0 to 3 months. Then the next 3 to 6 months, my focus is really making contact with those people, learning about what they're doing, learning about what their challenges are, learning how I might be able to help with that, gathering information on current contracts, expiring contracts, new contracts, all that kind of stuff. I'm looking at their forecast. I'm going to their website if they have a doing business with tab on it, and I'm going through their presentation on doing business with. I'm looking to see if they have industry days. I'm looking to see if they have webinars. I'm going through all of that because that first 0 to 6 months is mostly intelligence gathering. It's intelligence gathering, learning those organizations, learning those cultures, learning about what's going on so that you know them inside and out. That doesn't mean you can't chase any contracts during those first, 0 to 6 months. But in that first 6 months, the focus really needs to be on learning everything you can about your customer. As you start to get to the end of that 6 months, by then, if I haven't already, I'm starting to make contact with potential teaming partners. And that's really my focus now is, hey, I want to parlay that education and information, intelligence, whatever you want to call it, that I've gained in that first several months. I want to kind of parlay that into teaming opportunities where I can team with companies who are already working with my customers. I'll say that again. You want to focus on winning contracts by teaming with people that are already working with and have past performance with your ideal clients. That is the majority of the rest of the year for you because your focus in that first year of doing business is learning about your customers, learning about your teaming partners, and getting past performance. If you do that, if you make that your focus in the first year, I guarantee you will be blown away at the results you have at the end of year 1. It kind of sets the bar a little low. Hey, we're just focusing on sub work in this first year, but you're heavily focused on it. You're laser focused on it, I would say. And because of that focus, you're going to be really impressed with the results you get because you're not out here trying to prime. You're not trying to do 5 RFPs a month. You're not trying to learn 16 different agencies or any of that kind of stuff. You're focused, laser focused on 2 or 3 agencies, a handful of teaming partners, and sub work. And the whole purpose of that sub work, yes, it's nice to have the cash, keep the lights on, that kind of thing. But the focus of the sub work is so that going into year 2, you can start to prime. Because you can't prime, or at least, let me back up and say it this way. It's harder to prime when you don't have past performance. It's harder. It's really, really hard. It's hard for you to come in and convince the government, hey, give me a prime contract at whatever level when I've never done business with you before. What you want is even just a few small contracts where you have done some work for someone else. You've learned them. You've built a relationship. You've built a reputation. education, and now you can use that and leverage it into becoming a prime contractor. Is that going to happen in month 12, month 13? I don't know, but the odds are you're going to accelerate this way faster if you follow this model instead of focusing on doing everything at once. And that is going from 0 contracts to some sub work to being a prime in 12 to 15 months. That's pretty freaking quick in my opinion. And look, I know a lot of people will hear me say this and go, Mike, I thought your whole thing about RSM was trying to accelerate our journey as a government contractor. It is, and that is. That 12 to 15 months is drastically faster than the average government contractor. The average government contractor, get this, takes 3 to 5 years to win their first contract. Any contract, a sub, a prime, anything, the average government contractor takes 3 to 5 years to win their first contract. If we can help you win multiple subcontracts in the first 12 months, you are way ahead of the average government contractor. And now you're above average and you're transitioning after month 12 or maybe a little sooner into becoming a prime. So follow this advice. Keep it really simple on just focusing on gathering that intelligence, meeting your teaming partners, getting some sub work. And that is the goal of year 1. Year 1 is to set you up for success in year 2 so that you can grow up and become a prime and really start winning some bigger contracts. If you take that advice, I guarantee you will be way ahead of the majority of the pack. And if you have questions, as always, you know how to reach me. I'd be happy to chat with you about this. We'll see you next episode.
Thanks for listening to Game Changers for Government Contractors. For a full list of episodes and other resources, be sure and check us out on the web at www.rsmfederal.com/gamechangers.